Becky is tired. You know that kind of tired that sleep doesn't even reach. She's tried to sleep, the long weekend, the holiday, and she still comes back from all of these things empty again in a week. She's explained it a dozen ways. Too much is on. I'm stretched thin. I'll rest when the season ends. Every explanation she gives is reasonable, but none of them is reason. Her tiredness has a direction. She's pouring real capacity to work that doesn't give anything back. And the question was never why she's so tired. The question is what she's tired from. And the answer to that changes everything for her. Well, welcome to the Shift 9. My name is Oluseye, Ashiru, founder of Shift into Legacy, registered counselor, executive leadership coach. And here we are, 9 episodes, naming one fracture each time. Named, examined, and taken all the way through. Episode 1 named the identity fracture, the woman who performs herself and has never been sure who she is underneath all of the performing. In episode 2, we named the purpose fracture, the brilliant executor, the woman who runs someone else's vision flawlessly and calls it her own. And today, in episode 3, we are going into the capacity fracture. And here is the reframe I need you to hold before we go all the way in. Her depletion has a direction. She's poured years of genuine capacity into work that was never built to refill her. Effort has never been her problem. Her aim was. A woman can work hard in the right direction and come back fuller than she left. But a woman can work hard in the wrong direction and come home empty every single night. Same effort, different outcome. That difference is what the whole episode is about. So let's talk about the precise definition of the capacity fracture. It is the gap between the capacity she has and the capacity that she's spending on the work that is actually hers. She has the capacity, no doubt. That was never in question. The question is, where does it go? Aligned work carries a specific kind of energy, work that is genuinely hers, drawn from the deepest thing she carries, costs her and restores her all at the same time. She has felt it. The conversation that took everything and left her more alive than when it started. That project that ate a month and still gave her a satisfaction that her ordinary work would never ever do. The hours she spent in the exact place where her gift, her history, her calling meets, where time stopped behaving normally. That is aligned capacity. And so the capacity fracture is what happens when she pours from the right vessel into the wrong container. She has everything that she needs, but she's spending it somewhere it can never ever come back. Before the signature, we name what she has been treating instead. Because this woman has almost certainly been treating the wrong thing all her life. She's called it a time problem. She keeps organizing her calendar to the minutes, and then she still ends her day hollow, her day empty, because the calendar was never the real cost. She called it a productivity problem. She's producing more than most people are. This fracture never slows her output. It just hollows out everything underneath that output until only performance is left. And she has called it faithfulness. There is a theology of depletion that is preached to the high achieving women. Often in the rooms that formed her faith, we hear exhaustion is devotion, empty is holy, nothing left for yourself is proof that you served well. And that teaching has cost women their health, their marriages, their bodies, and the very assignment that they were trying to honor. Depletion was sold to this woman as devotion. It was always a signal. And that signal reads the same thing every time. The direction of the work is misaligned with the nature of the woman that is doing that work. How do you recognize the capacity fracture? You see, every fracture leaves a signature, a pattern that you can find in your own real life, not in theory, but in your everyday living. 4 markers for the capacity fracture. And I want you to ask yourself this week, which one is yours? Signature marker 1, rest does not restore her. This first one is hiding in plain sight. She's resting. And that rest is obviously not landing. She doesn't rest badly. Rest can restore her body, but it cannot repair a direction. Watch what happens after a break. How long before that empty comes back? For some women, it's days. For some women, it's hours. It returns so fast, she starts to wonder whether she's even built for rest. Oh, yes, she is. What she cannot do is hold herself up indefinitely in a direction that was never hers in the first place. Her body is being precise. It is reporting the gap between the work and the worker. She has been treating the tiredness, the rest, the supplement, the sabbatical. Every one of them has been aimed at the symptom. None of them has been aimed directly at the direction underneath it. Signature marker 2, she cannot access stillness. This woman cannot be still. Not only constant motion, but of course that is there as well, but the deeper kind. The room is quiet, but she cannot be quiet. Picture her Sunday. She has nothing on her schedule. Not because she's finished her work, but because the demands are not just there for that Sunday. Children are occupied, phone is down, there's space in her schedule. What rushes in to fill that space? For most women carrying this fracture, it's not rest. It's a quick return to doing, or this low hum of dread underneath the quiet. The fracture has helped her to think that motion is the proof of her worth. When she's moving, she's valuable. When she's still, she has to face the question that the motion was covering all along. Who am I when I make nothing happen for anybody? That's not a disorder. That is her identity fracture and the capacity fracture working at the same time. She cannot rest because rest is asking her to be herself with no activity in her hands. And guess what? She has never fully met that woman. Signature marker 3. She's pouring from an empty place. This third one, she's giving constantly, generously, sacrificially, and she's giving from a place that nobody ever refused for her. There's a pattern that we see, and I named some of them with my clients. That conduit fracture. A woman who is carrying precious cargo, but she's not able to keep any of it. Everything is moving through her, into her organization, into ministry, into family, into the room. That conduit is carrying stuff, but the conduit is never able to hold anything. Here is how it goes. She gives her last portion, then her reserve, then the rest she has set aside, then her health, then her marriage, then her own creative life. And then one day, she stands in front of the people who need her the most, holding something that looks like generosity, given by this woman with nothing left to give. She's not pouring from a full cup. She's never once had a full cup, actually. She was told that the pouring was the fullness. She believed it because for a while it felt like that. Giving feels like purpose. Serving feels like worth. Sacrifice feels like significance for her. Right up until the time where her well runs dry. And the only thing left to hand out now is borrowed from her own future. Signature marker 4. Busy is not built. Wow. She's always busy. Busy and built are not the same thing. Productive moves something specific and lasting forward for her and the people she carries. Busy makes her feel like she's moving. Sometimes it builds, oftentimes it only maintains. Oftentimes it's holding off collapse and she's calling it progress. Also, of course, she's productive. But remember, she's rarely propulsive. She's become a master of holding complexity, enormous amounts at once, without dropping a ball for years. And she's been calling it, oh, it's my capacity. No, it's a cover system that fracture has built in her. That machine keeps everything moving. So she never has to stand still in front of this one question. Is any of this what I was built to build? Busy is this fracture's most elegant defense. Stay occupied. And she never sits still long enough to feel the distance between what she's doing and what she was made to do. Each week we run the 5 examination questions, and today we're going to be aiming it at the capacity fracture. Show me, cost me, protect me, serve me, limit me. 5 questions and the same 5 every week. I want you to answer them in writing, put them into full sentences. Your God answer, never the managed one. Question 1, show me. Where is the capacity fracture most visible in your life right now? Don't name a pattern. I want you to name one moment, a recent moment. That Friday you sat down and you couldn't name what 7 days of motion had built. That appointment you canceled because it was only for you after all. The Sunday night dread that arrived before the week even had done anything to earn it. One moment, name it. Question 2, cost me. What has it cost you in the last 90 days? I want you to name 3 costs. 1, relational cost. The person living out with the emptied out version of you. The one who gets what is left after everybody else has taken their own share. 1, professional one. The work only a full woman could have made, that the running on empty woman is not able to reach. 1, physical. What has your body been carrying that it was never built to carry this long? The sleep that will not settle, the tension that will not let you go, the signal that you keep overriding. Vague cost will produce vague healing. Precise cost will produce precise closure. So I need you to name all 3 of them precisely. Question 3, protect me. Wow. What has the capacity fracture been protecting you from? Stay here with me for a bit. The woman who carries everyone, stops for no one, asks for nothing, gets celebrated at home, at work, in her community, in the rooms that taught her that this was what serving looked like. So the fracture has been paying her something real, something worth the cost, whether or not she was ever been able to name the trade. It guards them from stillness. Because stillness means you have to sit with yourself with no task in your hands. And that task was how you answered every question of whether you were enough. You keep moving. You never answer it. For other people, it guards them from alignment. They stay full of the wrong work. And then they have a clean reason to never risk the right one. The work that is most yours carries the highest stakes. And of course, when you fail at borrowed work, you can survive that, right? But failing at the thing that you were actually made for is a different kind of weight. And so that fracture keeps you too busy to ever pick that work up. What is your fracture protecting you from? Write that down. Question 4, serve me. How has the capacity fracture been useful to you? Because it has been, I'm sure of that. Here is what I see over and over again. The fracture makes you indispensable. And indispensable is a kind of safety. If the whole thing falls without you, your seat is secure. Your value is beyond question. Your place is guaranteed. That is real and it's been serving you. The only question is whether the price has finally outgrown what it buys. What has it done for you? Name it plainly. Because you can't set down what you will not first admit that you're holding for a reason. Question 5. Limit me. What ceiling is a capacity fracture building? Be precise. Not I'm limited, but tell us the exact level. The specific version of yourself, of your work, of your leadership, of your legacy that this fracture is keeping just out of your reach. The ceiling it builds is almost always a ceiling on depth. She can hold breath forever. She can manage anything. But the deep work, the one contribution that only she can make, needs a quality of free capacity that the fracture spends before she's even able to access it. She's not short on depth. She's short on the capacity to deploy that depth. I need you to name your ceiling. Exactly. One thing I need you to carry this week: the tiredness you have been managing, the low and constant kind that doesn't even lift when rest is available, is not a flaw in you. It's not a weakness. It's not a sign that you should want less or expect less of yourself. But it's a signal, the most honest part of you, telling you that the direction you have been pouring into is taking more from you than it gives back. Here is what closing this fracture will do for you. You don't become a woman who does less. You become a woman who pours into the right container. Work that restores as it costs you. Service that feels as it pours. Leadership that grows the capacity of every woman near you, instead of running all of it through one set of hands. That's not a smaller life. This is a life that you were built for. You were designed to build. This fracture has only kept you from the answer to what. So today, you can start with a free fracture point audit because it names the loudest of the first 9 fracture points. 15 minutes and it's free. Go to shiftintelegacy.com/audit to take that free test. And when you're ready to go further, the residency is now taking applications and you can access it at shiftintelegacy.com/residency. Next week on the Shift 9 series, we are going to be looking at the 4th fracture in our signature fracture points. I can't wait to see you next time.